Kindly contact Air Canada gate number 1, please. Mark Boutreau, kindly contact Air Canada gate number 1. Thank you.
It's Mummering! Christmas Mummer! Christmas Mummer! It's a Newfoundland tradition! The big thing is we're covering our face, so that
That's the important thing.
you're meant to be a bit of a surprise. Who are you? But I have holes in mine because I had it from my kids last year and they needed holes. And other than that, I've got a bra because every mummer needs to have. You need to have a bra somewhere in your costume.
Right. That's an important part.
Yeah, but having your face covered up, and usually you need to have a stick or something to make a bit of music, but we forgot that this morning.
The tradition of mummering has a long and colorful history in Newfoundland, and quite often it was associated with violence.
Right.
It was a time of year when people could disguise themselves. They might have a bit too much alcohol to drink, and if you had had an ongoing disagreement with something, with a person in the year, you might use this opportunity to hit them with something and get away. And there were a lot of attacks that happened in the 1800s. And in the 1860s, there was a man by the name of Isaac Mercer who was attacked by a group of mummers in a town called Bay Roberts, and he was killed. And at that point, the government said, okay, this tradition has gotten uncontrollable, and so we are going to try to legislate it. At first they tried to make mummers register with a number. That didn't work, and so the year later they banned it. They made mummering illegal. And in the 1990s, the law was reversed. So for 130 years, it was illegal. And many people think it still is illegal in Newfoundland, but you can go out mummering safely today without fear of getting arrested. An ugly stick is a percussion instrument. It's a stick that has bottle caps or washers, little pieces of metal that will jingle together. It's just a way that people use to make noise. It's more of a noise maker than a musical instrument.
The festival started when I was a student at the university studying folklore. We decided we wanted to come up with a festival to celebrate Mummering, which is a tradition here that is not as popular as it used to be. And now that was 9 years ago, and it's been getting bigger and better every year.
Great.
And so Ryan just had this idea of having a Mummers Parade and hoping, a couple of dozen people would show up. He had, I think, 300 or 400 people show up to the first one, and it's not just the mummers. Like we get a lot more spectators. Like people just opening the doors and just hanging out on the streets, and just like even just now, the street was just lined off with spectators.
Right.
머머떼들 사이사이에 말무리 모양이 보입니다. 이것은 하비오스라고 불리는 것인데요. 뉴펀들랜드 사람들은 크리스마스 시즌에 아이들에게 착한 아이에게는 산타클로스가 찾아오고 그렇지 못한 아이에게는 하비오스가 찾아와 벌을 준다고 이야기하였습니다. 오늘날 하비오스는 머머링의 중요한 상징이 되었습니다.
Maybe we'll start with the hobby horse. So the hobby horse is today kind of a giant folk puppet, almost. It's the head of a horse with a movable jaw, and the jaw kind of moves up and down and claps together. In Newfoundland, the typical hobby horse that you will see is a horse's head with a stick that holds the head up, and then a string that moves the jaw up and down, and then a blanket, and then a person gets under the blanket and holds the stick. Sometimes more than one person can get under it. And this is an old tradition. The hobby horses, the first hobby horses we know of in Newfoundland came in the 1500s. Today, the hobby horses are made out of wood or cardboard, but originally it would have been an actual skull of a horse. And when we started the Mummers Festival in 2009, we wanted to reinvigorate this tradition of hobby horses. So Ryan Davis, who works for the festival, he and a group of people came up with a a pattern for making hobby horses out of cardboard. It's way easier to make hobby horses out of cardboard than it is to use an actual horse's skull. So now we teach workshops and we teach people how to make hobby horses, and it's a way of getting young people engaged in the tradition and keeping that tradition moving forward into the future. But the idea was that we would introduce a new generation to this tradition, teach them how to dress up as a mummer, and educate them, hope then that they would then go out after the parade, after the festival, and continue mummering on that more informal, personal level.
What? We have to guess who everybody is? Like
weird things saying Are you guys mummering?
I think I know who this one is. I think we're related.
Oscar, Kaya, Sarah, and Samuel.
What? Hey. How did you guess that? Guys, you're supposed to unveil. Okay. Take off yours. Take off your helmet. Samuel. It's over.
머머링의 마지막 순서는 스코프입니다. 본래는 전체를 드러낸 머머들이 춤을 추고 노는 순서인데 머머스 페스티벌에서도 퍼레이드를 마친 머머들이 음악에 맞춰 다 함께 춤을 추는 것으로 행사를 마무리합니다.
Thank you, Jamaican farewell.
All of a sudden, I find at this event, no one's a stranger. You can talk to anyone.
Right.
You can hook arms and dance with somebody. There's all the rules of everyday life disappear, and we get to all like have a party together with people that we are meeting for the first time. It's like a totally different world, just for an afternoon. Well, I mean, I'd just be curious to know if people in South Korea do foolish things like this. Do they? Oh yeah? Well, then I would like to invite the people from South Korea to come here and come for a mummer and put on their best mummer's gear.
Love me my mummers.